Hey everybody, it's Rainbow Ramblings. I'm gonna put out one shocking video just because I feel like it. Macy and Mallory Morphew fit the definition of public figure, and under law, I'm able to comment on their situation that they very publicly discussed on a national TV show about the murder of their mother. So I have a right to free speech under the Constitution, and if I speculate or opine about what I think is going on, I'm not committing slander. So I'm just going to put it out there. I think Mallory knew Barry was going to murder Suzanne. For a long time, they worked together, having a joint account, squirreling away marital assets, etc. Mallory and her best friend Holly Booton, they decide to go away Mother's Day weekend on a camping trip a couple of states away. Now, Mallory's a party girl and Holly is a real fun kind of girl. Two college girls are not going to ask a high school girl, little Macy, who still lived at home with mommy and daddy, to go along on this camping trip, unless it was to get Macy out of the way so Barry and Suzanne could be alone. I fully believe that. My opinion. Mallory lied from the get-go when the police said, "When was the last time you spoke to her mother?" And she picked a date and a time when Suzanne was already dead, trying to make it seem like she was still alive and Barry had nothing to do with it. Macy, on the other hand, when she was interviewed by police, would say the marriage was bad, Suzanne didn't feel safe. She told her mom to get a restraining order. Mom, go ahead and divorce him. Maybe we should get a house in Salida, so she can finish high school in relative peace. And then suddenly, Barry, I'm sure, flipped out, got her under his thumb mighty quick, and all of a sudden she's retracting her statements about the marriage. And if you look at them on Good Morning America, Mallory looks more compliant, a little shell-shocked, maybe nervous being on national TV, but she feels more at ease with Barry than Macy, who just looked frickin' terrified. So I don't believe everything that I hear on Reddit, but, and this has been verified in the original arrest affidavit, Barry himself said he was a really bad father. He couldn't be bothered parenting Macy, so he sent her to be living with her boyfriend Miles and her family. After that, Mallory kind of broke up with her Air Force boyfriend. He kept wanting to dump her and she kept wanting to cling. And Miles and Macy broke up, and the main reason, or one of the reasons, is Miles got sick of Macy calling him daddy. That's all she ever frickin' called her boyfriend, was a daddy, and it was creeping him out. So since things weren't going so great with her living with daddy and daddy's mommy and daddy in their house, she got shipped off to live with Shirley Morphew. Now, I think there's a big inequity between the way Barry treats Mallory and the way he treats Macy. So I think he gave Mallory and Macy a little tiny apartment in Marco Island, to make Macy happy. But Mallory got the place in Marco Island, plus she got the big luxury house in Indiana, and who knows what else he put in her name and how much money that he throws her way. And what she has stashed with Barry in accounts that Suzanne knew nothing about or found out about and couldn't access. Plus, Mallory was the one that signed to make sure that Barry could have access uh, under the agreement. What do you call that agreement? The guardianship agreement, where he needed a signature to sell the house in Indiana. And there's all kinds of deep involvement. I blame Mallory more than Macy. That's my perception. It's my opinion on two girls who are public figures who went on national TV and discussed the disappearance / murder of their mother and the trial of their daddy and how he was innocent, and they had to temporarily drop the charges, the finding of her bones. They put themselves out there. Now, recently Mallory and Macy made a court filing asking to have possession of their mother's bones so they could be destroyed by cremation. Her remains scattered into the air in Marco Island, Florida, and her urn buried in some fake-ass Christian service that they wanted to have. And I think that was done because Mallory did not want to be implicated, along with Barry perhaps, who was standing trial for immobilizing Suzanne with this BAM, doing God only knows what to her, for how long before he murdered her, I believe in Mallory's bedroom. So Mallory definitely has a vested interest in destroying Suzanne's bones as much as Barry does. But it would look mighty weird if Barry Morphew, as the next of kin who has a legal right to her remains, while he's on trial for her murder, to ask, hey, can I have the bones and cremate them? That would be a blatant attempt to destroy critical evidence in the trial he's having in just a few months from now. And it would look really weird for just Mallory to ask for the bones. So I think whether by agreement or coercion or some kind of a plot, maybe Macy got sucked into it, and Mallory and Macy together filed for the custody of Suzanne's bones, even though they aren't next of kin and they don't really have a legal right to have them and dispose of her remains as they want to. So the whole thing is really sordid and dirty, but here's the question in my mind. By asking for the bones, did at least Mallory do that so she wouldn't be implicated in a crime? And asking to have the most damning evidence against Barry in an upcoming trial to get physical custody of that, and admittedly to say, I want to cremate my mother's remains, I want to scatter her ashes, I want to have a funeral for her. Since the trial is mapped out, Barry is indicted, they've already planned all of the pre-trial motions and the dates for the certification of expert witnesses. They have a witness list. They have all kinds of forensic evidence, etc. I wonder if that could be construed as Mallory and Macy attempting to obstruct justice by destroying evidence. I wonder if they're legally on the hook, if they could be prosecuted or threatened with prosecution, and they're on the state's witness list. So I wonder, they're going to have to get their own lawyers, each one of them, and when they're called as state witnesses, God only knows what they're going to be asked and what's going to come out of their mouth. But since they're the daughters of Barry Morphew, a pathological liar, and a predatory narcissist and a murderer and a manipulator who's raised his daughters God only knows how, and what their genes are like and what their behavior patterns he installed in them. I don't expect them to say a straight word or an honest word out of their mouth when they're under oath in the witness box. But I personally think that they are going to perhaps regret trying to help out Daddy Barry by requesting the remains so they could cremate the bones and destroy the damn evidence before Barry goes to trial. So I'm going to do some legal research and see what in Colorado constitutes obstruction of justice, what constitutes conspiracy, tampering with evidence, etc. And when I do a deep dive into the law, I'll be back to tell you about it. Peace, love, and donuts, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Boo Barry, boo Mallory, and little boo to Macy till I figure out how deep in it she is. That family is just, and surely I don't trust either. Anyway, we'll see how it all shakes out at trial, but I just wanted to think out loud what the consequences might be for the girls trying to request their mother's remains and destroy evidence. Have a good day, everybody.